Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Schlage 39-030. This is a rabbited door kit for a latch bolt and a strike plate. This happens to be in the 626 type finish. In over a quarter century of hardware, I haven't seen one of these very often. You don't see rabbited doors and frames very often, but when you do, they're quite, they're special because they require a significant amount of additional work, and they're done so very elegantly in certain instances to solve a particular problem. This application is most likely, but not absolutely, a pair of doors that meet. Well, you can see if my fists were to be the doors, you can see there's a gap between the two. But not when I rabbet one door over the other. It completely closes off that line of sight, gives you a significant ability to more thoroughly weather strip a door. And it might be interior doors, and you know, someone just wants to have a real special detail to the doors and frames, and rabbeting that material is one way that that's done. Okay, so when you have hardware and a rabbited door edge, you have a complication that you need some hardware for. There is a link below this video to the installation instructions, and they do a sublime job at visually showing what these pieces do. And realistically, there's not a lot to do here because not a lot to show, because that shows it very accurately. Here is the spacer that will work over the latch, and really this doesn't tighten down to anything except that when the latch bolt is tightened down into the edge of the door, the compression of that will seal that in place. It won't move. Overall height of that, of course, is going to be compatible with your 2 1/4 inch tall latch bolt. Now the width of this, and that's where it's important because your rabbet dimension is going to be based on that. This is for 1/2 inch. Okay. In step 1, prepare door edge, 1/2 of the width of the faceplate. So if because they don't know if you have a 1 inch wide faceplate or 1 1/4 inch. But then they're telling you for sure that it's 1/2 inch deep, that mortise. So your mortise, when you're creating the door and frame, needs to be a 1/2 inch. Showing you in step 2, 2B, and 2C how this all works, except that when you have a 1 inch faceplate, you're going to need to chisel out just a little detail because the return leg on this is only intended for 1 1/8 inch wide faceplates, which means this would be 9/16. Okay, and that is indeed the case. It would be too wide if it was a 1 inch wide faceplate. Tighten down the latch and you're done. Now let's move on to the strike. Strike is on page 2 of the installation instructions, and really the important box to look at is the right way and wrong way. So when you mortise that out, again, 1/2 inch deep, this is going to just trim that opening off, and you're going to use a couple of small screws that are included. You'll get a couple of long screws, in fact, for the latch bolt, a couple of maybe 1 1/4 inch long wood screws, a couple of shorter ones to hold that trim piece in for the strike. Let's take some dimensional properties of this. And of course, you know, it would be really handy if they drew... Oh, no, they've drawn it correct. They've literally shown you the proper orientation of each piece as if they were a mated pair. A pair of doors or a door and a frame. That's nice, because if you're doing a right-hand door, a right-hand active door, it needs to look like this, exactly the way they've drawn it. Overall height, about 2 3/4, and that's correct because this is being used with their 10-001 strike, which is a 2 1/4 inch tall strike. We also call them T-strikes. The width of that plate is 1/2 inch, which makes sense for that 1/2 inch rabbet. that is also going to be 9/16, even though it's a little bit heavier, because you don't back the strike all the way to the back of the rabbet. You flush it to the end of this. So you're going to lose the thickness of this material, bringing that to an effective distance of 9/16. The name Schlage is synonymous with lock sets, whether it be their F-Series residential caliber locks that have been around for a handful of decades now, or it's their classic D-Series knobs that you see in hospitals that were built in the 1950s. They have lock sets that go back way before that time as well, and I'm partial to them mostly because I'm just simply most familiar with their part numbers. It's the lock company that I learned initially, all their part numbers, how to work their catalog, how to work on their products. But what backs it up that is not subjective is their technical support. There's a particular person in tech support there who answers my questions every single time, thoroughly and completely. And I think this person realizes that I'm not just asking for the sake of knowing, I'm just trying to solve someone's problem. And that help is so deeply appreciated, and it's why you should consider Schlage for any project, small or large. The ability to have backup tech support behind you is crucial, especially if you need help just figuring out how to install a rabbited, latch kit. There you go. Any questions on the Schlage 39-030 rabbited latch bolt and strike kit, or any other Schlage product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.